And I have to beat this dead horse nearly every episode, but we got here because a certain amount of people in Michigan, a certain amount of people in Wisconsin, and a certain amount of people in all the swing states wanted to teach Kamala Harris a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. And then if you want to go back further, they wanted to teach Hillary Clinton a lesson. So now we got a Supreme Court that tells a madman he can do whatever he wants and it'll be justified because he's president. We have a conservative court that pretty much lets him get away with anything. The same court that told Biden he couldn't get rid of student loans are now telling him, yeah, that's fine. You're the president.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. It's your boy Ferg, the generator repairman. Join my co-host Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, what it do?
Man, the winter storm is in full effect, and it's cold here. I know you're getting ready with the generator because we knew it was going to be bad because your senator left the state. So anytime it gets cold like that, he dipping. So Ted Cruz jumped on a plane. He was like, "That it's cold." So, but how's everything going with you up there, Buff, DC? I mean, it's hitting y'all way harder than it is down here.
We got a lot of snow. I had to shovel some of it. That's a workout in itself, but a lot of snow. Nothing too crazy though.
Somebody had a post on Facebook talking about we failed our kids. He told his son to go outside and shovel the snow, and he shoveled the yard. He was just on the steps, on the steps, like,
Lord have mercy.
He's like, what? And he's like, what about the sidewalk? And his son just sat there for about 15 seconds, like, oh, that makes sense. So
at least y'all get snow, man. But yeah, just want everybody to be safe. Especially we drop on Monday morning, and it's supposed to be especially bad, especially here in Birmingham. It's going to be freezing over the night, so black ice, everything like that. I'm actually closing my offices for my company. Going to tell everybody to work from home because black ice is really, really bad because it's one of those things that you don't see it. You're driving normally, and all of a sudden, you're in a spin out. So, folks, be careful if you are listening to this on Monday morning or throughout the next couple of days as we are in this really, really cold snap. And
Rozzy, don't just warn people about black ice when they're driving. That's one thing, because a lot of people will not drive. And if you ain't never slipped on black ice, you ain't never slipped. But that is a whole nother. That slipping on black ice looks like cartoon meets Three Stooges, and I've done it multiple times. And I feel like I had an outer body experience watching myself fall, because you don't fall straight. Like, I mean, it ain't a quick slip. No. You shuffling, your arms are flailing. I felt like I came out of my body, watched me fall, and tried to help me not fall all at the same time. And guess what?
Still fail.
Fail.
Straight on your back. It really is like in slow motion too. Like you're in the air and you just feel yourself just like, man, this is gonna hurt. Boom. So yeah. So yes, walking as well. Be careful, folks out there. I'm sure at some point we'll talk about Minnesota as well one more time. We've had another shooting by ICE in there this time with a nurse that was actually just there observing, tried to help a young lady out that had been kind of getting trampled. He tried to help her out away from it. And then ICE, and being pepper sprayed. So ICE kind of rushed him. He did have a gun on him. For folks who don't know that piece of it, he did have a gun on him, but ICE took the gun away from him. They had already secured that before pulling the trigger and shooting there. So thoughts, prayers for that family, his family, for Minnesota in general. I know they've activated the National Guard, so it's step 2 of the race civil war. So just kind of be careful with all of that out there. I just want to shout out Jake Tapper, though. He had Kristi Noem on yesterday. and she was trying to explain away kind of these shootings and everything, and saying, hey, people should just kind of respect what's happening, get out of the way, and if they had just followed orders, as they like to say on the right. She tried to say that, and she was like, those ICE officers have every right to use deadly force if they need to, and everything like that. And Jake said, well, if that's the case, let me show you this video from January 6th. How should the officers have, reacted to that if that's the case? And of course, she didn't answer, and she was just like, every situation is different, blah 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 blah. And so I just love the irony of it. Yeah. It was Byron's fault. We're gonna put it on him. So, but I just love how he put it up and just showed the irony of it all, and how she will literally, in the same breath, say it's okay for police to defend themselves, use deadly force, blah 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 blah, and at the same time say January 6th, they shouldn't have used deadly force there when all of that was happening. And so I don't know, man. It's the hypocrisy of this administration. It's the inhumanity of it all. All of it's just kind of starting to get to me. So I'm really trying to kind of stay positive and not watch these things. But it's getting worse and worse as we go. We said it, right? We don't know if we're going to make it to the midterms. I don't know. I definitely don't know if we're going to make it to the elections based off of what we see coming in. So we'll just see. We just got to pray and hope for the best. But that's all I got, man. I just wanted to throw it all out there.
Unfortunately, I think with both high-profile shootings in Minnesota, I think they can be articulated in a way to where neither officer is going to get any type of punishment. Because law enforcement in general gets the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. And then when you factor in this administration, it's almost a slam dunk that they won't face. Because the first one, it happened quickly, but he can articulate, hey, I didn't know she was driving. It looked like she was driving at me. And he had been dragged by a vehicle about 6 months prior. So he can just say, I had a flashback, blah, 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 boom, case done. And in this one, he had a gun, and a lot of times they teach you if they had one, they could have another. It's unfortunate because he had a permit, so he was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was legally carrying it. So that's not even a crime in itself. It almost reminded me of George Zimmerman in the case, in the sense that you start a fight just so you can end it in a deadly way. You know what I mean? Like George Zimmerman could have been minding his own business, but he chose to approach Trayvon Martin, and because he was getting his ass kicked, he chose to end it in a deadly way. And with them, because they are not, a lot of these ICE officers are not here to protect and serve, which is what law enforcement is supposed to be. They are here to round up, bully, harass, snatch people out of cars and things like that. And they had no reason to even really rush that man. He wasn't bothering them in any type of way physically. And so, yes, he had a gun on him, but that's not illegal. And I know the Second Amendment of the crowd don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing that happened with, what's his name, Philando Castile in Minnesota as well. So we been knew that the Second Amendment is for certain Americans. It used to be by race, but now it's divided into political stripes. And right now, if you are perceived in any way as liberal or on the left, you are now an enemy. And I have to beat this dead horse nearly every episode, but we got here because a certain amount of people in Michigan, a certain amount of people in Wisconsin, and a certain amount of people in all the swing states wanted to teach Kamala Harris a lesson. And here we are. And then if you want to go back further, they wanted to teach Hillary Clinton a lesson. So now we got a Supreme Court that tells a madman he can do whatever he wants, and it'll be justified because he's president. We have a conservative court that pretty much lets him get away with anything. The same court that told Biden he couldn't get rid of student loans are now telling him, yeah, that's fine. You're the president.
Put tariffs on anything, doesn't matter, even though that's not even constitutionally in your wheelhouse.
And so as bad as it gets, at the end of the day, America, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Pennsylvania, y'all wanted to teach the black lady a lesson. But then you have the nerve to turn around and say, "Why would the Democrats help us?" Because you took all the power away from them. So don't take the power away from them and then moan about why they not doing that. Anyway, I watched the I didn't even mean to go like that. I watched the debate.
I love the monologue. That's why we didn't jump in anything. It was like, it was chef's kiss.
I watched Jasmine Crockett's debate against, how to pronounce his name? Is it Tellerico?
Yeah.
Tellerico.
Yeah. I just don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, I was looking at, so a lot of people keep thinking that the Dems have a chance because of how close in 2018 Beto O'Rourke came to Ted Cruz. But here's what you have to remember. Ted Cruz has very high unfavorable numbers. She or he will not be going against Ted Cruz. I believe they'll be going against, what's his name, Paxton or something like that. He's like the state attorney general or something in Texas. His unfavorables are not as high as Ted Cruz's. And Crockett herself, I mean, her unfavorability is a lot less than Paxton and Cruz. But I think sometimes Democrats lose sight of how close they came. But I will give you hope. I will say this. I believe it's Harris County, which is a blue county in Texas. Beto O'Rourke.
Houston.
Oh, that's Houston. Okay, my bad. Oh, yeah, Houston. Okay. So he lost to Cruz by about, 215,000 votes. Since 2018, Houston has grown by nearly 350,000. So that tells you right there. The math is there. The math is there. We just the Democrats have to focus on turnout, especially midterm. And it's going to be really difficult. It's already hard enough to get people out there for a presidential election, let alone midterm. So the key is going to be getting the vote out. The math is there. I don't know how many Texas listeners we have, but please don't just be like, man, it's Texas. You know that black lady ain't going to win. Let's first get her past this primary. And if she gets in there, we need everything we got to get her in there because the math is there. And you can't just be like, she doesn't have a shot. She won't have a shot if you decide to stay home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
and even if she doesn't, and I think this is the other part, they talk about Republicans, they have a primary, they line up behind their candidate, and Democrats don't. Democrats are really, really bad about my candidate didn't make the primary. They're not on the ticket, so I'm not going to go vote. So when you talk about showing up, whether it's Tellerico or it's Jasmine Crockett, does not matter. Whoever it is, you need to go out and vote in the midterms based on that. So I think that's the other part that we really got to hit home is screw whoever the Democratic candidate is. You need to go out and you need to vote based on that, because if not, then you're just kind of splitting that vote. You're giving it up and you're just giving it away to the Republicans.
So are we telling our listeners to blindly vote Democrat?
So
no. What I'm saying is, if you're a Democrat,
exactly.
What I'm saying is, if you're a Democrat, right? If you're in the primary saying I want Crockett, okay. If Tellerico wins, you need to go to the general election and go for Tellerico. Like it's one of those things that you can't do this thing where I didn't get my candidate, so I'm gonna just say screw it, because there's a stark difference in the Republican and Democratic candidate. So even if you don't get 100% of what you want from the Democrat that you want, you're still gonna get an 80% solution from the other Democrat. Like that's what I'm saying.
If I want Crockett to win and she doesn't, and Tellerico wins, when hits the fan, I still got to go vote for Tellerico.
Well, here's the thing. It
so
depends.
you tell them to go vote Democratic blindly.
It depends. If you're okay with what's going on right now.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
No, like, not even you specifically. To the hypothetical vote. Yeah, if you're okay with what's going on, then no, don't vote Democratic blindly. But if you want some type of pushback, some type of resistance, some type of hurdle for some of the things that this administration is trying to do, I ain't saying blindly vote Democrat, but that's probably your best bet at slowing some of this down.
Like, we don't want to say it, but that's literally what we're saying. Like, that's literally what we're saying. But what's crazy is, the scary thing is, this is a fairly new tactic, even though it's not freaking It's not like like I got an idea. Let's just vote Democrat. It's what's scary is let's say we say, yeah, let's go out and do that. Guess how the Republicans that were gonna stay home are gonna hear this, and then they're gonna respond in kind.
Maybe sometimes. Well, I don't know anything about Paxton, but I know like for say McCain or even Romney, a lot of them knew, hey, if I stay home, that'll allow Obama to win. A lot of them did not rock with Romney. They thought he wasn't right enough, you know. So it depends on Paxton. If Paxton is not that far right person that they want, and they feel like, hey, he's not going to do anything for us, then they'll concede.
Well,
your hardcore MAGAs might not.
First of all, we're assuming there was going to be an election, so let's just and we assume that the results will matter. That's what I'm more concerned about, and I'm really at a loss for words on where the country is right now. So, Razi, you mentioned, you start off saying this is a race war. I don't even think it's that anymore. I think we're past that. I think we are on the verge of a true civil war.
Yeah, but it's not based off of geography. It's based off of ideology now. It's a civil war, but it's an ideological civil war, and it makes it super hard because there's no like.
Yeah, and so that's what makes it scary. Even though one of our friends mentioned yesterday, I think I want to say yesterday or Friday, in our text thread, we need to activate the National Guard. And my fear is how many of those National Guard members are, a lot of military people are conservative. Probably
we had to send some home when they came after the 6th.
Yeah, and so like it's
wow.
It's the fact that now we're giving them access to a full artillery, right? If John Doe is sitting at home right now just spewing, but he's going to do his regular 9 to 5, and all of a sudden you're going to put him in uniform, put him in a position of power, give him a weapon, and possibly people under his command. Are we increasing the ICE agent mentality, right? Like, just not the agents. It's a mentality that they have. This MAGA mentality, this ICE mentality. Like, how many more people are we activating, right? And these people have, so you get random ICE agents, you get some National Guard members who are now able to join forces. And what's crazy is it's not like one has a blue flag, one has a red flag. They have the same uniforms. And that's what's scarier for me than anything. You don't know. I think about the Dark Knight Rises. Is that it? No. Go with the Joker, where the police. Oh, the Dark Knight, yeah. Where the police, the scene with the Joker and his people had infiltrated the police force, and they were doing at the parade. I mean, at the funeral, and all of a sudden they turn on each other. I don't know where we're at. Like you said, with it's ideological civil war, that your neighbor, right? There's no Mason-Dixon line. There's no lines drawn. And all this sounds far-fetched, but is it? Like, we're really at a place where people are not reacting more than ever just because they're like, they want us to react.
And I think some of it is still racist, ideological.
Yeah, it's definitely racist. There's racist.
Because it's like, he got the Hispanic vote. Now, he's in there now, so he doesn't care. They're shipping him out. Like, if you just look foreign, they snatching you up. And they could be MAGA for all they know, but they look foreign, so they got
a lot of them have been MAGA. That's the funny part. I mean, we joked about a couple of them that was like, you know, they voted for Trump and now they're being deported, right? Like that's happened. So it's not something that's far fetched. And I agree. I think ultimately it's kind of that, you know, states' rights to do what, right? The ideological divide is white nationalism. So it's not racism from I'm trying to hold other people down. It's racism as in I want white people to have a leg up and have every opportunity where I don't really care if anybody else has. And it's been shooting them in the foot, really. I mean, when you think about college admissions, white men have had the lowest college admissions in history. last year. So college admissions after affirmative action, white women after affirmative action had a huge decline. Scholarship opportunities. The American Bar Association said law school entrants, the white men were the lowest that they've been ever percentage wise from college or law school admissions. So, and that's another reason why Texas, as the first state, has said that they're not using the ABA for their licensing anymore. So you can be a lawyer in Texas now without being certified or passing the bar from the ABA. Crazy to think. Somebody could be like, yes, I'm an attorney, and you don't meet ethical standards, and you don't meet the standards of the American, like that the what is it? Is it the ABA? It's not the ABA. That's the Bankers Association, right? Yeah. I can't remember now. But either way, they're certifying body, whichever one it is. So that's, I mean, it's slowly getting to be where nothing matters from a norms standpoint. Then when you look at the economic piece of it, you guys saw that we're at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and it was horrible showing
ABA,
by Donald Trump.
American Bar Association.
Bar Association, that's it. So it is the ABA. So, but yeah, man, I think like Trump at Davos kind of showed us 100% where it is, confusing Iceland with Greenland, really just kind of alienating all of our partners. Canada has activated their National Guard and said, put them on standby. They've already signed contracts with China. So now we want to put 100% tariffs on Canada. It is crazy what we're doing from just a relations in everything. Donald Trump charging $1 billion for his, Council of Peace or whatever. It's like the Legion of Doom. I really feel like that's what it feels like, the Legion of Doom to me. So for the comic book nerds out there, Donald Trump is Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor was the president before, so that makes a lot of sense. Comic books is like The Simpsons, man. So let me get off my soapbox.
Well, the probably the scariest thing right now to me, because there's fear on every front, right? We're looking at locally just something as I'm gonna guess small as what ICE is doing, right? Because that's so local. Then stuff that was going on in Venezuela and Cuba and Greenland, and the board of peace itself is a scary notion because it's sounding a lot like the Axis forces. It's sounding a lot like, even, and from what I've seen, Trump is trying to have this indefinite role as the president, or I don't know if that's gonna be the term or the title of the
chairman.
Chairman, yes.
That sounds way more German as the chairman.
Yeah, and that countries can buy in for, what is it, $1 billion for
permanent membership.
Membership. Like, this guy's creating a board of peace. He's making a business deal with countries where they can, and the people that are looking in aren't countries that we have traditionally had relationships with. Putin's looking to join. Russia's looking to join. It's super scary. And this is what I think of when I think of how World War II, and in this case, World War III, would get started in today's world, like in today's climate. And what's going on isn't new, but it's new to Americans. And now Trump has bought in, and I don't think a country's had the power to do what he wants to do. So I think other countries and other people have had notions of this. But you get Americans and Russians together, that's a scary thought for the rest of the world.
Yeah. America and Russia won the World War II.
And Israel's thinking about joining as well.
Yeah, because they want to redevelop Gaza. Like, it started out as a redevelopment plan for Gaza.
Oh, yeah.
And so now they took all of that out, and so it's this permanent thing now. It's about land. It's about taking land. It's about developing it, like you said. It's about being able to do a business deal with countries in the back instead of, countries are really worrying about what the world is worrying about. They're worrying about themselves. And I hate to see that, because that's where we are now, is this globalization is kind of going away. We're trying to conserve and retract back to where it's this every country for themselves mentality. And that's what a lot of the countries talked about, right? Canadian President Macron from France, all of them, they got up there and that's what they said, is that we see now that globalization and cooperation doesn't work when the biggest powers can just decide unilaterally that they want to follow it or not, they want to change the rules or not. So all those countries are going to be kind of creating their own infrastructures for everything now. And that's not a good thing. Globalization works. Globalization lowers prices. Globalization helps people, where we don't have to have these huge standing militaries because we're not the Middle Ages where every country can just, invade whenever and this, that, and the other. It's that corporation of saying, hey, if you invade this country, you got to go against everybody. Basically, having countries and the like boundaries of the country stable was a huge deal, and that's pretty recent there, right? So since it's basically post World War II that we've seen these kind of stable type of boundaries in countries. And so all of that goes out of the window with this new world order that Donald Trump is ushering in.
Well, I mean, I think he's embraced a new age global manifest destiny mentality.
Yeah, he said it. Because basically, the strong is the only people that can hold land. Take what you want.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I was at the barber the other day getting my hair cut, and the owner of the shop, when I say, boy, he had an older cat in the chair talking to him, who was schooling him, just dropping facts. And the barber sounded like it's just a pre-recording. His rebuttals were just so rehearsed, taught. There was no objective thinking. There was no like, okay, I see that. This is prior to the shooting. He talked about that. He talked about Venezuela. He talked about Greenland. I mean, and it was just immigration as a whole. And it was just, dude, it's, and it took a lot for me not to just join in the conversation because I know it wouldn't have ended well for my barber who has to deal with him. He seems like one of those guys who is he would retaliate. And the only thing I did say was when the guy got up and he was leaving, I was like, hey brother, just wanted to stop you for a sec. I mean, you had some great points. I love listening to you. You dropped some knowledge and I appreciate you sharing that. And you could see the owner cringe. And it's just sad. I don't know. We're in this sad days, man.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Let's. Whose question is it?
I had one last week, so I think it's one of y'all too.
So, gonna completely switch away from politics, man. Although it's easy to get right back into it, to be honest. So this is no right or wrong answer. This is just something someone said, excuse me, a while ago, and I just remembered it to bring up on the show one day. But I was having a discussion with a group of people, and I forgot exactly the exact conversation, but I just know this woman said, well, that's because men are forgiven easier than women are. And I said, huh. When I hear something like that, I like to always try to think of examples and stuff like that. But I just wanted to ask you too, man, do you feel like, I know we're always making strides with the different things in our society, but we usually still have a lot of work to go. So do you feel like men are forgiven easier, or I guess quicker, than women are?
In relationships, or just
it could be I guess you could say like if it's a scandal or whatever, or in a relationship, or just whatever, when a woman has a wrongdoing or something like that, is it harder for her to be forgiven than men? Do we tend to forgive men, I guess, quicker or easier? And this is an opinion question, so there's no wrong answer.
I can see it. I can see what she's saying there. I don't know if I completely agree, but I'm just gonna think out loud and talk through a scenario here. Guys cheat, right? Or guys are expected to cheat more, right? And maybe that's what she was talking about. I assume it's in like a relationship type of way and not just kind of in general. But guys are more expected to cheat than women. And so a lot of times guys are forgiven much faster for cheating. Society like kind of lets them keep rolling, no big deal, slap on the wrist and you keep rolling from a relationship standpoint. Other people will give you a chance, that type of thing, versus society. When a girl cheats or a woman cheats, people hold on to it. She's a hoe, right? Like, and that's it. And so that follows her for a very, very long time there. And so, yeah, well, I'm not calling her that. I'm just saying that's what society is going to say about her. And so I can see where she's saying that guys are forgiven faster. Now, I think it depends on the situation and what it is that has happened, right? Because I think from a DV perspective, women aren't even like held responsible 90% of the time, let alone like have to be forgiven for it. Women be beating on men and they're just be like, what he do to make her hit him, right? Versus a lot of times a guy with DV is like that follows him for a good bit longer there. So I do think it's and that's why I said I don't necessarily agree with her. I think it's situation dependent on the expectations for that person, and then if they did it or not. Like, how often does it happen in life and in the real world? What do we expect to happen? And then based on that, it might follow you a little bit longer than somebody else there. So I don't agree with her, but I see what she's saying.
I agree with her in theory because there's a nuance to this. Men are it comes down to accountability. Men are forgiven because they are drugged through the coals from day one. He cheated, and every scenario, well, he should have left, or he's no good. Like, he gets all his lashes up front. Like, there's no excuse. Like, she's the mother of his kids, and she was holding it down. Like, they're going to make him a villain, right? And so he's gonna go through it. Like, he's gonna take all the lashes, right? In a lot of cases, it's women are never. It's just, not never. It doesn't seem like they're held accountable. And so there's still like, there's this need to say, okay, she cheated and she broke up the family. Like, can we agree on that? Well, he shouldn't have done this and they were good. So it's going to be prolonged because they never get what's coming to them, right? To me, it seems like Z and I've had this conversation. When a man cheats, it's like, well, he should have left. There's no excuse for cheating. When a woman cheats, I've never heard anybody say, well, she should have left. It's, well, he didn't make her happy. He didn't like, it's all these excuses. And a lot of times we're waiting like, well, say she's a bad person, just like you said, he's a bad person, so we can judge, convict, and move forward. But if we keep delaying the decision and we keep making excuses like, well, you never got mad at this person. I go back to one of the things that really, I remember when Solange beat Jay-Z up in the elevator. It was, he got beat up, did not touch her. He still was the villain. They made her a hero, right? And so my thing is, there's no excuse for violence. We're all adults. If I can't touch her, she can't touch me. I don't care who you're defending, right? Words don't hurt, all that stuff. So I feel like men get forgiven quicker because we go through it. We take our punishment. We take our medicine, right? We get over it. And if we do it again, we know what's going to happen. And I compare this to when we have police violence and whatever, is if not Byron, he's a police officer. If Rozzy goes out and does something, Rozzy's going to go to jail. He's going to be convicted. He's going to have a trial. They're not going to look at the same excuses, right? A police officer does something, we make excuses on their actions. It's, hey, both of these people killed somebody. Why are we trying to find a way for this person not to be held accountable? I'm not saying they didn't have a moment of weakness. Rozzy's a human being. He's a veteran. He has PTSD. He had a moment of weakness. We keep making excuses. When you make excuses, nobody's ever held accountable, because accountability is, the thing about accountability is supposed to teach you to learn from your mistakes. And we don't want to do that as a society. And until both parties are held accountable, men are going to get off easier at the end of the day, because they're going to move on easy, move on quicker, because we all decided he's a bad person. Now he can go redeem himself.
So I decided to ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT says, in the short answer, often yes, but it depends on context. In a professional setting, men are more likely to be seen as learning from failure, while women mistakes are often viewed as evidence of incompetence. Assertive behavior from men is often praised, The same behavior from women may be labeled as abrasive. In personal relationships, men may be excused for emotional unavailability or poor communication as just how men are. Women are often expected to be more emotional responsible. And in public scandals, men are more likely to receive redemption arcs. Women tend to be scrutinized longer and have their character more broadly attacked. I would say that I think it just, I don't know if it divides down the line of men and women. I think it's so, Razi, or maybe no, Ferg, you brought up Solange. So when we found out Jay Z was cheating on Beyonce, you're right. He got it. He ain't. He got the baddest woman in the world. How could he? Blah blah blah. Women were loud on the criticism of him. I saw a lot of men that didn't say much. Like, yeah, nigga got caught. Yeah, whatever. But when we found out Jada not only cheated but was her son's friend, my nigga, we got to put that in a whole separate box. Women was clucking. That's right, girl. Get your groove back. That's right. That's right. Because Will, he done did his thing too. That's right. They celebrated. And so I don't know Will and Jada's relationship. Maybe he was hurt for years that they had an open relationship, whatever the case. I know he was hurt when he was sitting at that table.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is we didn't cheer Jay-Z on. A lot of them cheered on Jada when she did it. And so I think it comes down to when one side feels like the other side has gotten away with something for so long, they do kind of not hold their side accountable. And so Razi started off saying that men are expected to cheat more than women. So when women see a prominent woman cheat on a prominent man, it do seems like they get a little celebratory. It's kind of like, now y'all see how we feel. And they don't hold them accountable when we just need to stay consistent and say what's wrong is wrong. If it's wrong for Ray Rice to knock the shit out of his fiance on the elevator, it's wrong for Solange to attack and spit on Jay-Z. They're both wrong. So who's forgiving more? I honestly don't know, because Martha Stewart is on all kind of shows now. I don't even think people remember that she got locked
With
up.
jail, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, she got street cred now. I mean, she hangs with Snoop. Like,
exactly. She invited to the cookout and shit now.
Yeah. Now women do, I mean, they do get the short end of the stick on a lot of things, right? Like, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but I think when we talk about equality, I think that's one of the things I'm a firm believer in that. Just like, until we can start having similar expectations for each other while respecting our differences, we're going to still always have these debates. It's, if cheating is wrong, we had an episode, one of our first episodes, cheating is bad.
Mm-hmm.
We said cheating is bad. But when we look at situations, and it's always, not as always, it seems like we make excuses and even sometimes find a way to blame men for things that women do. Right? It's if a woman cheats, a lot of times the narrative is she didn't feel love. Women just don't cheat. He had to be not doing something for her to go out and cheat. If a man cheats, well, he should have just left. There's no excuse. So if there's no excuse, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Cheating.
What was it? Who was it? Right? What was it? Ryan Davis. He was like, men aren't expected to be happy in their relationships, right? We're just there at the pleasure of our wife or of our spouse, and so it's a little bit of that. Like, he wasn't making her happy. That's why she was cheating. So it's his fault. He went out and cheated. So that was his fault because he messed it up for her. Like, I think that is a lot of what society expects for a lot of relationships, unfortunately.
Feel like,
and you did make a valid point in the workplace. And I remember a training I took years ago, and it was minorities in leadership course that one of my companies hosted, and they talked about that with women, like being aware of your brand. And it's not necessarily just it's the way society looks at women. So women if they do something in a business environment, they can be seen as abrasive. They can be seen as the bitch, like it's that thing, too aggressive. He's when a man does something, he shows leadership skills, he's passionate, all these things. So I get it, but I think we have to start equality. We have to start accepting that women make great leaders. There are certain things, skill sets and mannerisms and things of that nature that make other people more successful. So as a leader, sometimes you have to be more direct. You have to be able to make everything, take the emotion out and say, hey, here are the metrics. This is what you need to do. I don't have time to sit here and talk to you and baby you, but whether that comes from a man or a woman, in any kind of minority, I have to, and I'm pretty sure Razi and you, we have to navigate and not be the angry black man. Those are things that we have to, if I say something and somebody else says something, it can be the exact same thing. It can be taken as intimidating, right? So I think the person who made that statement, under certain circumstances, they're correct. I think in society, in the public's eye, men are forgiven quicker. I think in individual relationships, when society gets taken out and it's you and him.
Well, then it becomes about, are men more forgiving than women are? I think in relationships, like if your woman cheat on you, is it more likely that the man will forgive his woman for cheating on him versus the woman forgiving her man for cheating on her?
I think that's a great point. I think a lot of men are very, here's my line, don't cross it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of us are more aware of the flags and things, our standards. You cheat on me, I'm out. Like, I don't know if I can forgive you. Point blank.
Right.
Right.
And that's I think that feeds it adds fuel to it, right? Like, you think about it, so often guys cheated younger or whatever, and the girl let them stay. And so now it's this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of, he cheats, I'll let him stay. He cheats, I'll let him stay. So now on the third, fourth time, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll leave. But the first or second time, I may stay, right? Because society's like, you need to be in a relationship. And I think that still comes from, pre-1960s. You need to be in a relationship. To be a whole woman, you need to be in a relationship. So you can't, he's a good man. If he's cheating, oh well, because he's taking care of the bills or whatever. Like that, there's so much that's wrapped around, like, women, you can't leave, but whereas a guy,
who's teaching
he can leave. I think it's just,
are you going to teach?
Moms told them that, and so no,
moms.
and that's the thing. Moms
are you going to teach your daughter?
Grandmas taught them that, and great grandma taught grandma.
Exactly. So a lot of times, and this is not, and I'm gonna give me a sec. I'm gonna come back to the men. It's women teach. A lot of times, women are teaching women bad habits. Right? Is we all have daughters on here. If he loves you, he's going to honor you and he's not going to cheat. That's what I'm telling my daughter. If he cheats, leave. Right? It's just that simple. Like, it's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to find that guy. But you're going to waste time spending time with that cheater. You're young and I get all that stuff. But we're the same guys that when your uncle, like, how many girlfriends you got? Men taught us bad habits, right? Like, so we recognize that. We recognize it. Women call us out on the bad stuff we do. Hey, women, you've been taught a lot of BS. You've been taught a lot of BS. You don't have to stay. Like, you're getting way more upset because it's a spiral effect. It happens over and over again. And so by the time it happens a fourth time, you hate him and then you go cheat and then he leaves and now he ain't. You could have avoided all this,
I think women are getting a memo on that, though. I think that's why so many more of them are now educated at getting their own, so that they're not in a position where they have to stay with a guy that does not just cheats, but just treats them bad.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and that, I think, is another reason, we talked about marriage rates and things like that, people in relationships, right? I think that is why that's dropping, is you have to have that drop so men can learn the lesson there and say, okay, we can't do that. We can't beat on our women. We can't cheat on our women. We can't do those things. Being a good guy, if I want to be in a relationship, and then I'm not going to do those things. But again, if women giving out the nanny, guys are like, do I really need to? So yeah.
it seems like we're replacing one bad habit and creating another one, right? It is marriage rate is down. Women are have more different expectations of men, right? But they're shifting as well, right? It's they are way more open to sexual partners and stuff like that, and so it's I don't have to cheat because I don't need to be with you. It's I can actually have multiple women. We're just openly dating. Now, women get to do the same thing, and I think we're going to see the long-term effect of that very soon because you hear it now. The saying is there's pee in the dating pool, all right? Because I think we're in different times.
Not as much pee as people say, though, but it is pee.
But I think it's because we're not looking at each other equally.
I think it's age group. I really do think it's age group. I don't think it's pee in the dating pool. It's middle-aged women. You're getting the leftovers. I'll say it.
And we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
No. So, Buff, when you say there's not as much pee in the dating pool, there is a lot of pee in the dating pool between the ages of 35 and 45, 50. Because at that point, it's the leftovers. It's the guy, the good guys, the guys that are like just ready to be in a relationship or in a relationship. They're probably already in a relationship. They're already married. They're in long-term relationships. Your late 20s, early 30s is that time where guys are trying to settle down. Women are got their degree or whatever. You're dating like with a purpose and everything like that. The guys that want to settle down, 9 times out of 10 have settled down by the time they're 35 and 40. 40-year-olds and up. But like I said, 35 to 50, that's a hard time to be dating because the guys that want to be in a relationship usually are already in a relationship. And so unless you find the widowers of the world and the guys that finally figured it out or whatever. But those guys that's left over.
I laugh. I mean, I agree. And I also said that because I've watched in real time, like real scenarios where one person has messed it up because they haven't completely healed from their past relationships or past relationships altogether. And so everything can literally be going good, but because something triggers them, they automatically jump to a conclusion that ruins that particular relationship. People are not healing. And I hate to pick on her, but you look at a certain celebrity rapper that's dating a guy now that just had a baby by somebody that's probably not the best person, but she jumped so quickly from her divorce ain't even final. But she jumped so quickly from that relationship.
Did you mention that she's pregnant with his baby? I don't know if
she already had it. Well, she
already had his.
Yeah, she had it, and he has like what? 5, he has one. So I'm saying people got to heal, man. You got to get over. You got to get to a point to where when you start this renewed relationship and y'all get into something, you're not pulling from this old relationship and saying like, you just like such and such, or you remind me that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what she did. No. That relationship is over. This is me. I'm not him.
I think my question is, have the end goal or end game shifted? I remember probably like 10 plus years ago, there was this relationship goal like fad going on. They'll hashtag relationship goal or whatever. And I look up now, and it seems like their relationship goal has shifted. You said Cardi B, she's a great example. There was a lot of people were praising her for finding her happiness. It was okay. Let's take take a step back. She's pregnant, recently had a kid. Now she's pregnant with somebody else's kid while she's still married. He has multiple kids. He has somebody pregnant. Hey, let's pause and say, hey, not saying they're not meant to be together, but maybe they should give it some time and approach it differently. A lot of people look up to her. A lot of people look up to Sexy Red. They look up to these other women and men too. You look up to. So when you're saying there's pee in the dating pool, that Raji was talking about the 40 plus, 35 plus, these younger people they're peeing in the dating pool right now. They're not trying to get serious, but it's going to hurt them. When you look up and your girl was an Instagram model or OnlyFans, like this is the world that they're growing up in. Maybe that OnlyFans, and we're starting to see the backlash of some of these adult film stars saying, well, you shouldn't judge me, I was young, things have changed. There's OnlyFans models who are going to have kids one day. OnlyFans models are going to have kids who have to grow up with their mom having this reputation. It's just a lot, and men aren't doing much better. I mean, I think the thing with men is they're in a place where they can have their cake and eat it too. And so it's not, I need to settle down to find me a Tabitha, because there's not a lot of Tabithas out there today. And I use Tabitha because I've known her damn near my whole, I met her at 14, 66% of my life, or almost 70% of my life. I've seen her grow. Right. And Tab, we always call her auntie. We call her auntie because she's always been mature for her age, at least in our eyes. And I'll speak for myself. It's hard to find her. Not, we were all young and dumb and stuff like that. We all made our mistakes, but there was a certain level of respect that she demanded. And I don't see that as much now with the youth today, where you're seeing everybody wanting to be this superstar. Where are the Tabs now? And they're out there. I'm pretty sure they're out there, but
they're just not on social media.
Know.
They're out there. And I think that's the other part about that. We're judging normal society from the loud 10% that's on social media, the folks that you see. I think there's a lot more Tabithas than you think out there. That's why.
No, Tab. There's not a lot of yous out there. Rising, not appreciating your greatness.
No.
They're not appreciating.
I said a lot
greatness.
more. There's a lot more than you think. So, but I do think that, we let social media shape our perception when social media is not real life. I don't think that's the majority.
But the problem is they're looking to that as the goals. There's a reason there's a lot more people getting augmentation. Think about plastic surgery was rich people did. Like, no, we didn't know anybody probably until the last. How many people prior to the last 10 years did you know that had plastic surgery?
Yeah, like maybe 1, 2, yeah. And like you
say,
you didn't even have to know them. Like
you seen them, like you go out and
like the higher ups or something like that.
And so that's what I mean. It's not just. I mean, it's you go out if you go out right now, you're going to see somebody with a BBL. Like it's a change. And men are like, they're having their cake. Like, well, I'm not trying to marry her, but that ass does look nice. Right? There's nothing, in short, there's nothing making men want to be better men, because there's a candy store, right? There are some great women out there, but they're being outshined by everybody else because of that. And some of them are kind of, I think leaning towards that. Like they're starting to lean towards well, maybe I need to do this. So, I mean, it's BBLs, it's the amount of nudes that chicks send. There is a epidemic of young kids.
Hey. Don't talk negatively about this now.
What I'm talking about is kids, bruh. What I'm talking about is kids, bro. I'm talking about they are
going too far.
They are like young teenage kids. That's a problem in schools these days.
Yeah.
You're a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl sending nudes. What do you think a 14-year-old boy is going to do? Right? Like that's going to follow you. You're not making a decision when you're 25, 30, like that. You're at least an adult and you're making a decision and you're willing to deal with the consequences. So I don't know, man. I don't know how we got here. But the answer is yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm scared. I got a young daughter. She's 10, about to turn 11.
Bruh, nah, man. It's like Roger saying. It's scary. It's actually more. There's more Haley's and how you looked at Tabitha when she was young. It's more of them out there. But there is a loud growing 10 to 15% that are what you said, that are getting the BBLs, that are just, I don't want to just put it on women. Like from a male's perspective, they just want the quick cash and they want to lead with their cash on what they can do for a woman. But then also get mad when said woman wants him for his money. So,
or perception of, like, everybody has to look like they stepped out of a music video.
Yeah,
everybody has.
Yeah,
I remember.
That's perfect right there. That's perfect.
Like I was watching some video and dude was like rappers used to rap about regular stuff that you could go to the mall and get, right? Like, it was normal. That was the cool stuff. It was like, oh, I'm gonna go get some Adidas. I'm gonna go get, some regular Nikes. And so now everything is Gucci and Prada, and it's like these high end brands because you're trying to look like you stepped out of the bling bling video, right? It's like now
Prada.
That just came from those brands. So yeah,
I can get that with a nice overtime check. These Negroes rapping about Richard Mille, $800,000 watches and shit.
And I think that's what I mean. Is like everybody's exposed to this, and everybody feels like they can get this, or at least
Pimp C rapped about a $70,000 drop top Benz. Rising can go get that right now.
Rising can go get that right now
if he wanted to splurge. You know what I'm saying?
He can go get that, money down, 0% interest, all that good stuff. But like it's men and women our youth. The things they're idolizing are very scary, and a lot of it seems is leading it to have unrealistic goals on what the future looks like, what they should expect from each other. And like you said, the Haleys and the young Tabithas of the world, how long do they hold out when they're looking at like, well, all the Cardi B's are getting all the men, they're getting all the attention. What do they do? Now is there a chance I got to send more news? Like how do they compete? So it is what it is. Luckily, I met my wife before all that stuff got good, and she's been my baby. Yeah, man, I got my baby young, and was able to curb all that. But let's go ahead and jump into it, fellas. Let's go ahead and close it on out.
Cool. All I got, man, is you talked about the kids and having middle schoolers and everything. Just tell parents, check on your kids, man. Check on them. Make sure that they are not just telling you what you want to hear when you're asking about how they're doing and everything like that. These kids are going through a lot at the school. We had a suicide scare, and so it's one of those things that it gets around. The kids talk about it, all that stuff, and it's just like, hey, these kids are really going through stuff, and especially even if you think you're in the suburbs and they're not going through the hood, and they not worried about where their next meal is going to come from. That doesn't mean that they're not going through stuff, right? So make sure you're checking on your kids. Make sure you're having real conversations with them, and just keep praying for these kids, man, and make sure that we can get them out of middle school, high school, and out the house as productive citizens. But I just want to make sure y'all checking on them on regular basis and not just like every once in a while. So that's all I got, man.
So I know a while ago we even talked about it on this show, and I definitely saw it a lot on social media when I think it started in California when they said ICE, or I think at the time it was the military that was just like rounding people up. And I know on the show we discussed, hey, should we sit this one out or should we join the fight? And we had a debate about it. After watching what's going on in Minnesota, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, for the black people that said, hey, this ain't our fight, it might be time to start rethinking it, because at some point they're going to run out of Hispanic-looking people. And to that point, they're already snatching up
Somalis.
Somalis. I think even Haitians as well.
Mm-hmm. Dominicans too, yeah.
Yeah. So at some point, we may need to rethink that. I'm not even here saying that we were wrong to think that way. I'm just saying that as more information comes in, a smart person recalibrates their answer on things. Because it really is getting to the point, during election time, you hear a lot of people say, man, I'm not even into politics. I'm not into that. It's getting to a point now to where you can't even ignore it. And God knows I've tried my best to not even keep up with so much of the news, because so much of it is depressing, but it's always there. It's there. And it's becoming harder and harder to ignore. So that's just something to think about. Other than that, man, as I always say, subscribe. We're on every podcast platform. Also inspire you on air via Contentville, and check us out on YouTube as well. The Brothers No Sense.
Byron, it's funny you say that. I was thinking about what is our part in this, and I think we need to sit this out. We need to figure out what we need to do. I think this is the most dangerous time to be on the front line. If they're shooting white women, who a lot of you remember this is who they were trying to protect. Right? This is what all this is about, is protecting white women, virtuous white women and their white kids and all that stuff. I don't know if us being, because I don't think this is a going to the front line and protesting is
and to be fair, we did our part. Black people, I would say, did not vote for this by and large. It was, and Jewish people as well. It was a lot of left-leaning people that sat home, and a lot of white women. Y'all voted for this. So that, and also, as you said at first, I don't want us to think being on the front line is not the only way. Like, there are other ways that we can possibly fight and push back on what's going on. So by no means am I saying the only way to do it is go out on the streets and protest. So
I think
thanks for mentioning that. Thanks for mentioning that.
I think we need to have maybe a show or a talk about that, because I think money talks. Mm-hmm. But I think finding the right way to to donate and all that stuff is something we need to look at. And how do we do that? Do we create a $5 a week budget to donate to Jasmine Crockett or somebody like that? If we had a large outpouring in the Black community and we committed to that money we're boycotting Target with, or Starbucks, or whoever it is, like whatever that is, we need to find a way to make sure our voices are heard, make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe and planning for worst case scenario. But we have to plan. It's scary times. So all I'll say is, people, enjoy the good times, because they're still there. I still scroll down my page and there's somebody doing a line dance or somebody doing something that they enjoy. Find peace in all of this. Control what you can control. Stay close to your loved ones and get yourselves ready. Focus on the things that you can control as we try to navigate these times. But stay aware, stay informed. Stay safe. I think we've said enough, man. Three Brothers No Sense. Welcome to 2026 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.